Jarren Duran is an all-star for the Boston Red Sox, a goal he has worked to achieve for so long as he's emerging into an absolute superstar in the league.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed. And the best part is it's all free. So you might as well check it out because Locked On is your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Red Sox, where it has been exciting times lately on this show because the Red Sox have been making it that way. They've been a lot of fun to watch lately. Came off of a very good series win over the weekend against the Yankees. And they are just winning lots of games as of late. And it's just so much fun to watch. And when you look at this Red Sox team right now compared to where they were early on in the season or even in May, they've come such a long way. They had a rough May, but now they're winning games and they are locked in with a great chance to make the playoffs. Cutter Crawford had a fantastic outing on Sunday in the Red Sox win against the Yankees. He threw 68 pitches in 7 scoreless innings, and it was a really incredible outing for him, which was huge, hopefully, for his success moving forward. So the question became, why didn't Alex Cora send him back out for the 8th inning with the Red Sox ahead 2-0? But Cora said obviously efficient, but I felt that was good enough. The last 2 innings, we had to grind with it, and we were lined up with Slayton and Kenley. Basically, he explained that if he had sent him in for the 8th inning and somebody gets on base and then you bring in the reliever, that's a tough situation for the reliever to be in, and he would have rather given the reliever a clean inning. So that's why he pulled him when he did. But he definitely wanted to keep going, although he understood what Alex Cora was doing and why he was making the decision that he was. But it was an incredible outing for him, and it really only is the icing on the cake to just some great baseball the Red Sox have played as of late. And that starts with a big thank you deserved to their 3 players that were just named All-Stars. In first-time All-Stars, Jarren Duran and Tanner Houck, and third-time All-Star Rafael Devers. All 3 of these guys are so deserving of being in the All-Star game, and Alex Cora is definitely very happy for all of them. He said, obviously, during the offseason, there was a lot of talk that these guys needed to step up for us to be good. Tanner being the number 1 guy in the rotation and Jarren just setting the tempo from pitch 1, I'm very proud of them. It's a testament to the organization, too. Sometimes we get caught up in trying to be somebody else or trying to emulate other organizations. That's a reminder that the Red Sox have done it the right way for a while. Jarren, a 7th rounder in 2018, and I think Tanner was drafted in the 1st round in 17. And obviously, internationally, we've done an amazing job, and Rafi is kind of like the poster child for that. I mean, that's an understatement for sure. Rafael Devers is just absolutely continuing to mash, and there's not really enough that can be said about him. His batting average is at a 293 for this year now, with 290 at-bats that he's taken, 56 runs scored, 85 hits, 55 RBIs, 40 walks, 79 strikeouts, but with 21 home runs and 2 stolen bases. The 21 home runs are the standout stat for him. He is going to continue to absolutely crush baseballs, and he is somebody that opposing pitchers fear, especially Yankees pitchers, because he just feels right at home at Yankee Stadium and just loves to smash the ball all over the place then, as he hit 2 more home runs in Sunday night's victory. So he's just been so much fun to watch. He's somebody who I suspect will be a consistent all-star throughout the rest of his career, and it's deserved. I mean, he's one of the best players in the sport. He absolutely clutches up when the Red Sox need somebody to, and he provides a lot of power and good hitting for the Red Sox when they need it. So a player that opposing pitchers fear is always somebody for sure who you can rely on to be in the All-Star game. So no surprise with that one, but Jarren Duran truly just does it all as a five-tool player who is able to really provide a lot of value on the base paths with his ability to steal bases, at the plate with the offense he's providing, the nice plays that he makes defensively. So he's really able to do a lot of different things. 276 average on the season, over 373 at bats, 59 runs scored, 103 hits, 40 RBIs, 33 walks, 92 strikeouts, 10 home runs, and 21 stolen bases. And it's not even just those numbers that make Jarren Duran as unique as he is. He started all 89 games the Red Sox have played this season and has just taken his game to another level. He is the first player in Major League history to record 100 hits, 10 triples, 10 home runs, and 20 stolen bases before the All-Star break, as he does lead the league with those 10 triples right now. So he is doing a lot of things right to contribute to this Red Sox team right now. And it's been a lot of fun to see his growth because he went through some struggles. He had some on-field problems in his first two seasons, and then he also struggled with some mental health issues that he was very open about over the years. And that combined all made the accomplishment even more meaningful. He said, "It means a lot. Coming from where I came from and dealing with what I had to deal with, it feels good. It's hard to put into words. It's a proud moment. Proud of myself, proud of the team, proud for my teammates." He is just so unbelievably good, and he's been making the perfect leadoff man this season because he just really does it all. And there are not many players in Major League Baseball who can do everything that Duran can do. So I just loved being able to watch him play. And it would have been so unfortunate if he got snubbed and didn't make it, because he is absolutely undoubtedly one of the best outfielders in baseball right now. And he is having the season of his life. So I'm very glad that he was recognized for it by his peers, because they were the ones who ultimately voted him in, as well as Tanner Houck, who has been the most consistent pitcher in the Red Sox rotation right now. He is the ace of the staff with a 2.68 ERA over 111 innings pitched. He's given up 93 hits, 44 runs, but only 33 of those earned. He's given up just 5 home runs on the season with 23 walks while striking out 106 players. So he has been very solid on the mound this year, and he's been somebody that has been consistently very reliable. And it's been fun to watch him because he is somebody who you know you're going to get a good outing from the majority of the time. And he generates tons of swings and misses, as you heard, with the number of strikeouts that he does have on the season with 106. I mean, when he gets on point, he is very much locked in and sometimes can be unhittable. I mean, he's had a couple rough starts this season, but that's literally it. There have really not been many blunders for him at all. He is the guy the Red Sox need, because for a lot of the offseason, the conversation was, do the Red Sox have an ace? Do they have somebody who can pitch at the top of the rotation that they know they can rely on regularly to go out there and get the job done? And the answer to that question was unknown for a bit, but Tanner Houck has certainly provided that for the Red Sox. He's allowed 2 runs or fewer in 13 of his 18 starts. He has just 23 walks, which is a huge difference between his strikeout rate. While holding opponents to a 220 batting average, he has a 1.05 whip and a 2.68 ERA. I mean, great numbers for him. He came out of the gate as the number 5 starter, but just has swiftly ascended into the undoubted number 1. He's a 28-year-old righty, and he's been fueled by vastly improved control from what we've seen in years prior. And he also has a splitter that he has developed that has changed the grip on to turn into a top weapon for him. So he's able to just grip the ball differently on that pitch and make it a lot harder for opposing hitters to go after. So he has put in a lot of work. He said lots of days of hard work, a lot of hours of having great conversations with people. It all boils down to having an incredible coaching staff and teammates that stand by you every day and want you to get better and push you to get better. I'm still in shock about the entire moment and just trying to soak it all in. He deserves all of this right now. I mean, there is not a single other pitcher on this roster that you can trust more than Tanner Houck right now, and he absolutely deserves it, and he's going to be great in the All-Star game. So I am very happy for these three players that are representing the Boston Red Sox. Definitely a sure sign that the organization and the farm system are heading in the right direction, and that this team is able to produce talent, because the narrative for a while was that the Red Sox aren't able to commit to and prosper their talent within their own system. And these three guys are examples of guys who stuck with it, went all the way through the Red Sox system. The team believed in them. The organization saw their strengths, stuck with them. And now here we are, and they're all-stars. And I hope they soak in every minute of All-Star Week, because all three of them absolutely deserve it. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about a big topic of conversation that has Red Sox Nation buzzing right now. And that is, what is Alex Cora's future going to look like in Boston? That's coming up next. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. And the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. FanDuel is a great way to make some serious cash. I've seen it happen firsthand. So you might as well check it out if you're looking to make good money. You should also subscribe to Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel that's available on YouTube and also Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. We as a network have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel in order to keep you all updated on all things going on in sports with our Locked On experts. So make sure you check that out today as well. What does Alex Cora's future look like in Boston? There have been rumblings about the fact that, he might not be interested in staying here, and his contract is up after the season as the manager. So there will be some decisions that have to be made. Does the team want to extend him to a long-term deal? Does he want to stay around? Does he believe in what the Red Sox have going? There are lots of factors that go into determining these types of decisions. And when you look at Alex Cora and his situation with the Boston Red Sox, he has seen a good amount of success between winning the World Series in 2018 and getting the team to the ALCS in 2021. And it almost felt like when the Red Sox brought Alex Cora in that he was the perfect fit to take over as the manager of this team. And there have been some frustrations over the last few seasons, primarily due to the roster construction that the Red Sox have had and making it more difficult for him to work with. And that's tough from a manager perspective, because there's only so much you can do. You get the talent that you get, and you have to try to make the most of it and make it work with what you're giving. And I feel like Alex Cora did a great job of trying to make the most of the situation over the last few seasons. And even this year in 2024, he is managing this team in a great way. And he has the ability to just connect with these players, make them feel important, and help them maximize on their potential. And that's something that so many players have spoken highly about, is his ability to just feel like not only a coach and mentor, but also a friend. And I think that's so important when it comes to managing a professional baseball team. And it's pretty impressive with all the injuries the Red Sox have faced this year that they've been able to win as many games as they have. And I give him a lot of credit for being at the forefront of that and just really creating a team camaraderie of wanting to win and being hungry and sticking to your goals. And that's something that is really admirable about Cora. But the question now becomes, what happens after this year? What would the Red Sox have to do in order for him to stay? Because it's easy for somebody to say, yes, we should extend Alex Cora right now. But on the other side of that, he needs to want to stay. And what is going to cause him to want to stay? I think how they do this season and the way they handle the trade deadline are going to be big indicating factors. I think Alex Cora likes Boston. I think he has a way of understanding the culture here and what fans expect out of this Red Sox team, which is constant success and winning. And he's used to being here, and he comes from being a bench coach, which is somebody who really does work with the players more intimately than maybe being a different type of coach or just an overall manager. So he definitely has that type of relationship with his players. So there are a lot of benefits to him staying. He wouldn't have to relocate elsewhere. He knows the area, he's familiar with it, and he's just well acclimated to being the Red Sox manager. But at the same time, he might get a little bit frustrated. I think he got frustrated last year at the way the roster was constructed, the way that the Red Sox didn't go and make aggressive moves at the trade deadline to improve the team, and the way that they were sitting there 2 games out of a wild card spot last year at the deadline, and things still did not happen to put them in contention. And then the rest of the season was rough for them, and they were losing a lot of games. And Alex Cora definitely got frustrated with that, as any manager would. I mean, it's hard to manage a team where you don't have a ton of talent on the roster to be able to utilize guys in the ideal spots. So I'm sure there was some frustration on Alex Cora's part, but the question is he not as frustrated this year because he now sees that this team is winning games? So it needs to be a mutual decision of the Red Sox want to bring him back and he wants to stay. And I think if the Red Sox go and buy at the trade deadline and they're aggressive and they show that this team is worth investing in and they have the belief that this team can make a playoff run and they continue to win games and they get some of their other guys back healthy, I think that could be a huge factor in Alex Cora's decision on whether he stays here or decides to walk away, because he is such a well-desired manager right now that I'm sure if he leaves, another team would easily be able to step in and grab him and would offer him really good money to go there, because he does have the success as a manager and opposing teams can see the relationship that he has with his players and the camaraderie that takes place in the Red Sox clubhouse. And who wouldn't want that on their team? So other organizations, if they're looking at this situation, could say, well, the Red Sox are on the bubble this year. Who knows if they'll be able to make a deep run or not? And then if they do, I think there's a good chance he stays, because of the fact that them winning games shows that their future is bright, because a lot of the guys who are contributing right now are those young players like the Jarren Durans of the world, Wilyer Abreu, David Hamilton, Sadam Rafaela, those types of players that the Red Sox have worked so hard to develop within their system so that they can work their way up, particularly with guys like Duran, somebody who they've seen just start off on the lower levels. They've seen him go through some struggles emotionally and on the baseball field, but overcome all of those obstacles to become the player that he is now. So if I'm Alex Cora and this team makes a playoff run and the Red Sox add at the deadline to help the cause of that playoff run, then I'm saying, wow, I could totally see the vision of what this organization is trying to do moving forward. And we have a lot of young talent on this team right now that can help us put together some wins as the season goes on. So I definitely feel like I want to stay. On the same token, if the Red Sox are sellers at the deadline, or they don't really sell, but they also don't really buy either, and they're not super aggressive, and then the players lose confidence because the front office is saying, we don't trust this team enough to make a run, then that could be discouraging for everybody, including Cora, because he could say, well, we've been winning games. What more do you want from us? There isn't much more I can do. So if that ends up being the case, I could see him walking and deciding to go elsewhere if he feels like there's another franchise out there that's more invested in winning. And Alex Cora wants to win, and these players want to win. And if I'm Alex Cora, I'm really looking at this situation for what it is and saying this organization can make 2 choices at the trade deadline. They can either decide to sell off pieces of this team and show that they don't feel like this team is worth investing in because they don't want to give up too many assets, or they buy and add on to this team and say, yeah, this is a team that could make a postseason run. So we want to add to it and show that we have that belief. And I think which way they go is going to be a huge factor in determining what Alex Cora decides to do for next year. I think if the right opportunity was there, he would choose to stay. But sometimes you have to do what's best for yourself and your career. And if the Red Sox decide that they don't want to do their due diligence by showing this team that they can add to it, and I'm sitting there as Alex Cora, I'd be saying, yeah, what am I supposed to feel about this? Because we've been winning games and getting some wins together that we didn't really expect to get together. So what do you expect me as the manager to do if you don't feel like this is a capable playoff team? So I think there are so many different factors in whether Alex Cora decides to stay or whether he decides to walk away. But there are lots of decisions to be made. I mean, it's a hard thing and lots of pressure to have to know, okay, what am I going to do next season about this team that I've been managing now for quite some time? Do I want to walk away from that, or do I want to stay and continue to hopefully try to build a championship team? So lots riding on Alex Cora when it comes to the offseason. His future is still unknown, but we will see what happens with it. I mean, I feel like we are lucky with Alex Cora. There are people that definitely don't feel as strongly about him, but I feel like this organization could be in for a rude awakening if they do decide to let him go, or if he decides to walk because the Red Sox aren't offering him enough money or there's an opportunity elsewhere. I think people, as in fans, will be disappointed in the fact that he's not here anymore. So I like Cora. I hope that he stays. I think he's a great person for these Red Sox players to have around in the locker room. He's somebody who's positive, who knows what to say to these guys to make sure they're staying on track. So definitely lots that I like about him, and I just hope he makes the decision to stay. Coming up, though, I'm going to be talking about a minor trade the Red Sox made that could impact them in the more immediate future than you might think. So that's coming up next. If you want a easy way to play daily fantasy sports, Prize Picks has you covered. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You literally can turn $10 into $1,000. It's crazy. No joke. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Just download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. It's Prize Picks. They really do what they can to make it so simple for you. So if you're looking to have fun and play daily fantasy sports, look no further than Prize Picks. Here on Locked On Red Sox, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team. Whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs, it's year-round. You know what else is year-round? Collections season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after you for unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating by the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/lockedon. And be sure to mention Locked On Red Sox at checkout and you'll receive a $250 discount off their services. Who doesn't love discounts on taxes? I know it's the most painful experience in the world, filing taxes. I hate it. I'm not a numbers person, but Tax Network USA always has me covered, and I promise you it will cover you too. Also, just a reminder to check out Locked On Sports Today, the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. You can make sure to stay caught up in all things going on in sports if you subscribe to that today. So make sure you do. The Boston Red Sox made a minor trade over the weekend simply for just some depth arms on the pitching side of things. They acquired 30-year-old right-hander Trey Wingenter from the Detroit Tigers in exchange for single-A righty CJ Wines. It was on Saturday night, and according to an industry source, Wingenter had an assignment clause in his minor league deal with Detroit, so the Red Sox acquired him with the intention of adding him to their 40-man roster. This is a move that likely will result in somebody else being DFA'd. It doesn't necessarily mean that he will join the active big league roster because he still has minor league options remaining, meaning he can be sent back and forth between Boston and AAA Worcester, so they can really play around with that depending on need at the majors at the time. He has a 5.28 ERA in 90 MLB games with the Padres and Tigers. He hasn't been in the bigs this year, but has a 3.31 ERA and 32.2 innings, all in relief at AAA. CJ Wines, who the Red Sox traded away, was Boston's sixth-round pick last year out of Western Kentucky. He has a 4.81 ERA in 19 games at Salem. So these minor league deals are not something to read too much into in regard to the fact that most of the time they are depth moves and there's not really a guarantee that they are going to play much, if at all. Obviously, the Red Sox saw something in Wingenter that they liked, so they said, okay, we can give up a lower-end prospect for him. So it's not like it was this massive trade for either team, but it's definitely always good to know what is going on around the league, because what if he comes in for the Red Sox in a game and you're like, who is that? So it was a very minor move. Didn't get talked about a lot just because both players most likely will be spending the majority of their time in the minors. But it's always cool doing trades with teams like that because usually they have players that they want to give up because they are not performing well at the time. So that was a minor trade. I expect that maybe he'll get some major league playing experience soon, especially if somebody gets injured, which, knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen. But the Red Sox, and all of the injuries they've experienced this season, you can't really take that risk of, oh, everything's going to be fine and we don't really need a contingency plan, because they absolutely do. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets called up, see if he is able to adapt at the major league level, because that's definitely something that seems to have been a problem for him, is not being able to be consistent, and some of that could be the pressure that comes with people watching him. So if he gets called up to the Red Sox, big game changer, huge crowd, big deal. So I'm hoping that that situation turns him into the type of guy who feels okay to pitch in those types of situations. So interesting small trade, but the Red Sox can never use too much pitching depth. You always want good arms in your system, people who can be called up at some point and contribute right away, because Craig Breslow is a pitching first kind of guy. So he always wants to try to get returns in trades that he makes for pitchers who are well worth the commitment long term. So it was basically just a swap of minor league pitchers, but they probably both approached each other and said they like certain things about the pitcher they acquired specifically. So there's definitely some things to be excited about. He needs to be more consistent and be able to pitch and throw the competitive pitches when he's out there. Otherwise, pitching depth can never hurt. And I'm excited to see his ability to adapt in Worcester, especially, and how he's able to pitch at the AAA level, to then give the Red Sox an opportunity to call him up and make him feel like they made the right decision on him. So definitely a good depth move, definitely a good roster he's entering onto, with lots of guys who just have so many positive attitudes and want to win. And honestly, that's a nice lifestyle to live is just having a bunch of guys in your clubhouse that are really close and connected and are just ready to take home a championship together. So we're just really hoping that happens this year. I mean, it might not. The Red Sox are still a young team, but what I could take away from it is if they fall short in the playoffs this year, they are young enough to where they now have the experience and they can maybe come back again and hopefully try to go further in the playoffs if they don't go far this season, or they could surprise all of us and win the World Series this year. You never really know with playoff baseball, but having those contingency plans and backup options are definitely huge, especially from a pitching standpoint, because you never know what's going to happen then. But this is a fun group, everybody. I mean, this is a fun Red Sox team to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they continue to perform throughout the rest of the regular season leading into the playoffs. As always, though, Red Sox fans, you have to do your part by helping the Red Sox to make a deep run this year and just keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.